London didn't notice the multiverse fracture at first. London noticed a flicker. A Tuesday evening rush hour turned brittle. Card readers stuttered, station screens swapped platform numbers, and a bus rolled past with a route that didn't exist. Streetlights along the A102 blinked in a pattern that felt like a code being typed with shaking hands. Phones showed the wrong time by exactly 10 minutes, then corrected themselves like nothing had happened. In Poplar, inside a low concrete substation that smelled of dust and warm metal, a junior engineer reached for a breaker that had always behaved. The panel flashed white. The shock should have thrown a body across the room. Instead, the body became the spark. The change didn't look heroic. It looked like failure, a human outline unraveled into a crawling lattice of light, poured into copper, and vanished into the humming arteries under the pavement. A second later, the outline returned in the same place, boots still on the floor, chest still rising, eyes wide with a new kind of fear. The air tasted of ozone and burnt plastic. The lights in the substation steadied, then started to pulse again, like something on the other side was breathing through the wires. Miles away, near the approach to the Blackwall Tunnel, a resurfacing crew had already been shouted off the carriageway by traffic control. One subcontractor stayed too long. The spill happened fast. A glossy black tide that should have cooled and clumped instead spread as if gravity had changed its mind. It climbed a curb, slid under tires, and found ankles. The man didn't scream for long. Heat moved through him, replacing muscle with viscous certainty. Skin became a rolling surface. Bones softened into a structure no longer needed. When he stood again, the body was no longer a body in the usual sense. It was molten tar shaped like a person, heavy with intent, leaving smoking footprints that never hardened. The fracture chose London as a seam because London already ran on seams, tunnels, cables, junctions, timetables, contracts. When the seam tore, the city tried to keep working anyway. On the A102, hazard lights multiplied. A minor collision became a chain as drivers braked at different versions of the same second. A lorry jackknifed, blocking an ambulance that had been sent to a cardiac arrest on the Isle of Dogs. Horns became a single sustained note. CCTV cameras kept recording, obedient to routine, even as the image on several feeds briefly showed a different road, a different sky, and a river running the wrong way. Tar moved through the gridlock with purpose. He learned quickly that the best disguise was the thing everyone trusted, the road. Black spread from his feet into the lane surface, smoothing itself into a perfect patch of fresh tarmac. Tires rolled onto him without hesitation. Heat climbed, rubber softened. A driver tried to reverse and found the wheels sinking as if the carriageway had turned hungry. In the substation, Spark felt the same hunger from the other direction, the grid pulling for balance. Demand spiking as hospitals, lifts, and traffic signals fought to stay alive. The power had a logic and a cruelty. A&E departments didn't care about miracles. Ventilators cared about electricity. Spark moved without running. The body dissolved into current, flowed into a feeder line, and surfaced inside a street cabinet 3 roads away with a gasp of light. Each jump left a trace, a brief dimming of nearby lamps, a hiss from speakers, a scent like a storm about to break. The city offered infinite paths, but every path connected to someone's life. On a traffic camera feed in a control room, an operator watched a patch of road glow and move like a living thing. The operator raised an alarm. British Transport Police were not first. Met Response were not first. London Fire Brigade were not first. The first response was a software ticket that couldn't decide which department owned reality. Spark reached the jam by riding a lighting circuit along a flyover. From above, the scene looked ordinary enough to pass at speed. Brake lights, steam, shouting. From close up, it looked wrong. The road had a sheen that reflected no sky. The air above it wavered with heat. A man stood in the middle of it, tar forming shoulders and arms. A face suggested rather than carved, watching trapped motorists the way a landlord watched late rent. Tar didn't need words to declare the terms. The road beneath the cars softened by degrees, forcing metal to settle, forcing people to stay. Leverage built itself. Sirens in the distance grew louder, then cut out as traffic signals died. Spark could have ended it with a beam strong enough to turn tar into smoke and asphalt into fire. The cost appeared instantly in the mind like a list on a clipboard. A tanker 2 lanes over, a bus full of commuters. Oxygen cylinders in an ambulance behind the pileup. A neonatal unit drawing from the same local loop. Spark chose a smaller violence. Electricity poured into the road furniture instead into bollards, lampposts, traffic lights, overloading them in a controlled cascade. The junction blacked out. The cameras died. The smart signals froze. The street fell into a darker kind of silence. The choice bought seconds. It also stole seconds from elsewhere. In a care home 3 streets off, a backup battery clicked on and immediately began losing a fight against time. Tar recoiled from the sudden deadness, not because Tar feared darkness, but because the power in the asphalt changed texture. The city stopped feeding his heat. The disguise thinned. Cars creaked as the road hardened beneath them again, trapping some tires at odd angles, snapping suspension, turning an escape into another kind of crash. Sparks surfaced on the pavement as a human outlined again, shaking, sparks crawling over skin like nerves exposed. The beam came anyway, weaker than it could have been, aimed not to kill, but to force separation. Tar's shoulder boiled. The smell was chemical and sickening. Tar answered by spitting a ball of molten tar that struck a parked scooter and turned it into a small blazing torch. London Fire Brigade arrived to a scene that couldn't be described on a standard form. Water hissed to steam on Tar. Foam slid off like spilled milk. Officers shouted instructions that nobody heard over panic. Someone filmed everything, then later found the clip corrupted into blocks of black and white, as if the phone had tried to censor a shape it could not process. Tar did not win the fight by overpowering Spark. Tar won by understanding infrastructure. The tar body slid into a drainage channel, spread into an access culvert, and became road again somewhere else, somewhere safe, somewhere anonymous, somewhere already broken enough to hide a miracle. Spark stayed because leaving meant admitting the city couldn't be held together. The grid pulled and Spark answered, rerouting what power remained toward hospitals and rail control, leaving estates and shops in the dark. The act saved lives and created anger. In the morning, the tabloids would call it an attack, a terror incident, a Russian hack, a freak storm, anything but a fracture in reality. By dawn, London had cordons, briefings, and a new vocabulary spoken quietly in control rooms. Anomalous electrical transient, unidentified roadway hazard, possible human involvement, a van marked Crownwell Applied Systems, parked near the site with no sirens and no logos anyone recognized. Men in clean boots collected melted CCTV drives like evidence, like trophies. The fracture did not close. It simply learned how to look normal. The story is just beginning. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode.